Bread of heaven, bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Feed me till I want no more. Amen. Tonight we come to the very popular story of the prodigal son, this tale of two brothers, a story Jesus tells in response to the religious leaders who were grumbling that this Jesus guy was welcoming sinners and eating with them. In the parable, Jesus confronts the Pharisees' self-righteousness and ours with the truth that every sinner is a son or a daughter, and with a table where our hearts, so prone to wonder, are found by the loving Father, in whom we are never truly lost. Not all of us have an adolescent rebellion in the equivalent of a Las Vegas-style rampage, but almost everyone does leave home at some point in life. It's a very human thing to do. We leave for love, for learning, for dreams and opportunities. We sometimes seek distance from toxic family relationships or confining boxes. Sometimes we leave home because we believe that we hear the genuine call of God. Other times we leave metaphorically. We do, become, believe something out of alignment with our families of origin or how we were raised. Sometimes we shift religious perspectives or political views or career paths that diverge from our family's expectations for us. All of these ways of leaving home can be part of a necessary journey of self-differentiation, discovery, discernment, and growth. We have several folks in here with German roots, and you might have heard of something called the Rumspringa. Am I saying it right? It's actually kind of a Pennsylvania German word found in Anabaptist, Amish, and Mennonite traditions. A word that literally means to have a season of running around or jumping around, a Rumspringa. When adolescents in those traditions turn 16 or 17, they enter an intentional, sanctioned season of rebellion, exploration, self-discovery, before either deciding to be baptized into the Amish church or to leave the community. It often includes all the temptations of the world, a lot of drugs, sex, and rock and roll, that kind of thing. And it's institutionalized that every adolescent goes through this time of testing. Similarly, in the parable, the Father does not hesitate to accept and even bless that younger son's wishes. He gives him his inheritance and allows him the freedom to leave. I'm struck by the resonance between this Rumspringa and the Greek term for the far country to which the younger son departs, the Kora Makra in Greek. Kora meaning open space, and Makra, like macro, meaning big. The big open space, the great emptiness. Whether we have stayed close to our roots or ventured far, we all encounter a great emptiness at some point. A moment of existential questioning. Who am I? What am I here for? Where am I going? Is it all worth it? Am I on the right path? Jesus experienced something similar in his journey into the wilderness that we remember in Lent. The Kora Makra, the great emptiness, can be found both in dense and deserted places. It can be sought, or it can be unsought, accidental. In the wilderness, Satan tempted Jesus with turning stones to bread, convenience, ruling the kingdoms of the world, power, and finally throwing himself from the temple, a spectacle for selfish gain. How often do we seek to fill our emptiness with temporary sustenance that never truly satisfies? And yet God, who is love, who is home, remains constant. Psalm 139 reminds us, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away." No matter how far we stray, we are never truly lost to God. Even when we make our bed in the depths, God is there. Even when we flee to the farthest limits of the earth, God's hand leads us home. The late theologian Phyllis Tickle once wrote that just as the eye cannot see itself, home is that which we cannot perceive as long as we remain part of it. Home is made visible only through the yearning lens of loss. She writes that the child has home and does not know it. The adult lacks home and constantly knows it. Both are inevitable in our sense of home on our journey, just as they are in our discovery of the very sacred itself. God is our home. It is in God that we live and move and have our being. Returning home can be incredibly painful. It often signifies a failure of a relationship, a dream, a career, a plan. But failure in human terms is never failure in God's eyes. No experience is wasted. God uses our deserts, our detours, and even our defiance to redeem us into something new, a new creation. But still, returning can be so hard, can't it? The regret, the fear of rejection, the fear of the "I told you so" on the other side, the shame. I love that part of the parable where the younger son begins to rehearse his apology. "I will arise and go to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and earth.'" And he thinks about what he's going to say and how the father might respond. You know that feeling. Preparing for a hard conversation. Crafting the words so carefully to minimize our faults and optimize our chance of being accepted and forgiven. We try to soften it with our words. We practice. We rehash. We imagine every scenario. And the good news? God doesn't need any of that, my friends. No need to rehearse. No need to fear. No need to rehash. No need to practice the conversation before the God who knows it all to begin with. Zero shame. Complete forgiveness. Total acceptance. You are God's child, loved simply for being you. It doesn't matter what you've done, what you haven't done, where you've been, where you're going. The loving father in the parable runs to embrace the younger son while he was still far off in the field. No rehearsing, just rejoicing, dancing, celebrating. For what once was lost has been found. And so we can let go of the guilt and the hand-wringing. But what about that older brother? Y'all are in church. Probably more of you than not are the older brother, unless you really have sins that you need confessing. Maybe you've been the responsible one, the faithful one, and now you feel the sting of comparison, resentful, when others receive the grace and goodness you feel they haven't earned. Well, the party is for you too. Because forgiveness frees not only the one being forgiving, but the one holding the grudge. Maybe you're a parental figure, biologically or otherwise, longing for that loved one to return home, to God, to their people, to themselves. May we, as leaders in our families, communities, workplaces, churches, have the courage and faith to grant freedom and the grace to simply keep the door unlocked and the porch light on. And may we create spaces free of shame or fear for those who long to return home and might just be fearing that conversation with us. It's one thing to know we're loved by God, no rehearsal needed. May we also be the ones to extend the olive branch, to run out to the field and embrace the ones longing to come home. Finally, remember this. You might struggle with this story because you're thinking, good for the younger brother and good for the older brother, but I don't have a trust fund. My friends, through faith and trust in the God made known to us in Jesus Christ, we are co-heirs with Christ. We have a spiritual inheritance. I like to think that Jesus himself is the third implicit brother in this story. Our brother. Always for us, always with us, always in us. And our inheritance, the joy, peace, love, and grace, riches that only multiply when shared. My siblings, hear the good news. At this table, this feast, you are not lost. If you are here in this room tonight, you are found. You belong. You are loved. No matter how far you've strayed or how broken you feel, you are known, seen, and embraced by the God who brings even the dead back to life. God is so glad you are here. I'm so glad you are here. We are so glad that you are here. So let us keep the feast. Amen.